MPs face chorus of condemnation over 2 billion send-off package.
Anthrax decimates 700 head of cattle in Turkana North.
And on Succession 2013, we focus on the Mudavadi factor.
Good evening and welcome. Prime Minister Raila Odinga now claims the resurgence of pre-election terror gangs in perceived ODM strongholds are financed by his political rivals. The PM claims his opponents are scheming to disenfranchise the party's supporters through violence and intimidation.
Now Raila becomes the highest-ranking state officer to claim foul play directed at his constituencies, yet in conjunction with President Mwai Kibaki, they are the custodians of security apparatus. Sam Ogina begins our bulletin with that report.
The PM is now reading politics in the re-emergence of pre-election criminal gangs across the country. Raila says the resurgence of terror elements is deliberate, financed by rival groups to disenfranchise ODM support base.
We suspect that there is some deliberate plans to try to destabilize areas where the ODM is strong. And this, of course, is something that we don't want to tolerate.
Raila's remarks come hot on the heels of an ODM meeting violently disrupted in Kilifi that resulted to the deaths of 4 people. The PM is putting security apparatus to task to nip the rising political insurgency in the bud.
And we want the security forces to act with decision, with resoluteness, in order to deal with this emerging trend of lawlessness in the country.
Already Justice Minister Eugene Wamalwa and Internal Security Minister Kato Olemitito are talking tough on any sect or individual culpable of fanning flames of violence.
Any of the politicians sponsoring those gangs, that will be basis enough for them to be locked out of this electoral process.
Nitasunguka hii Kenya mzima kuhakikisha kuna amani.
In Kisumu, since the outlawing of the dreaded Baghdad boys, the cropping up of 2 criminal gangs caught authorities in the region napping. Just after the by-election campaigns, 2 groups, China Squad and American Marine, linked to leading political parties, engaged each other in violent displays weeks ago in total disregard of the rule of law.
Upon the registration of the TNA political party, this other group now that was a splinter group found itself in another political party that they could air their concerns. Likewise, in November 2011, Party of Action presidential aspirant Raphael Tuju's convoy was attacked trying to make forays into Odinga's Nyanza turf.
We want to ensure that there's no fear that is instilled in the hearts of the people of this country.
But Raila is claiming innocence in the violence in ODM strongholds, claiming it is a campaign hinged on character assassination of the Orange Party and his presidential push. Sam Ogina, KTN Prime.
And that story leads us to our big question tonight, and we ask, are politicians responsible for emergence of pre-election terror gangs?
Please do SMS your yes or no response to the number on the screen. That's 8040. And you can start that with a yes or no, and we'll also sample some of your comments and give you the poll result at the end of this live newscast.
Indeed, we will. And has the Mombasa Republican Council ignited new calls for secession? Well, it would appear the group is still pushing the Pwani Si Kenya agenda after what appeared to be a crackdown against members of the group in Mombasa. The MRC spokesman, Mohammed Rashid Mraja, who was today charged with possession of materials advocating for secession, says the group is being unfairly targeted by politicians out to tarnish its name, and that until government grants them audience, MRC will continue with its agenda to secede from the country. KTN's Edith Kimani with the details.
The Mombasa Republican Council still insists that the coast is not part of Kenya's territory. The group, which has been linked to various criminal acts at the coast in the past week, has reignited fresh calls to have the entire Kenyan coast break away from the mainland and govern itself as a sovereign state.
Kwenye nchi kuna mkataba. Je, kwa maanisha nini? Kwa maana hiyo kwamba ninasema kama pwani si Kenya, si mimi, bali ni mkataba ndio unaosema pwani si Kenya.
This renewed separatist agenda follows a raid by police officers on those spreading talk of secession. It is no surprise then that most of those arrested were from the MRC. The group, however, says it is being unfairly targeted, something the police administration has refuted.
Kiukweli wanalenga maofisa wa MRC, lakini hasa wanalenga maofisa wa MRC, lakini kiukweli hawa nia yao ni kumshika yoyote wa MRC sasa hivi.
When a person says issues like Pwani is not Kenya, that is a hate speech, and it should be taken very, very, very seriously as it is.
MRC's timing could not be worse. Their renewed calls come at a time when police have linked its members to the murder of a police officer serving as a bodyguard under Amason Jeffa Kingi. The group's members have also been accused of disrupting election preparations and impeding campaigns. It is no wonder that government officials, led by Prime Minister Raila Odinga, have adopted tough rhetoric against terror groups.
I'm going to gazette a task force this week to deal with this issue, to create a dialogue between the coastal people and the government.
Any politician who will be found to have links or other by financing or assisting the criminal gang will also be dealt with, whatever is position in government.
Members of the group are already paying the price of their continued secession calls. Mohammed Rashid Mraja, who is a spokesperson of the group, was today charged with being in possession of material promoting separatism and was released on a 2 million shillings bond. Edith Kimani, KTN Prime.
The proposal by parliamentarians to award themselves more than 2 billion shillings as a send-off package after the expiry of their term has elicited opposition from across the country and continues to do so. A section of MPs have, however, distanced themselves from the act of their colleagues by saying that they are not part of it. This is civil society organizations petitioned the president not to assent to the bill, and as Aaron Ochieng reports, the move by the lawmakers will make taxpayers part with more money for their legislators just weeks after government hesitated to pay striking teachers and doctors.
Right about 10 o'clock on Thursday night, when most taxpayers were asleep, members of parliament were not sleeping. They were passing legislation in the record 8 minutes that would give them 10 million Kenya shillings as a send-off package. The MPs numbering 30 were amending section of the financial bill as proposed by Wajir West MP Adan Kainan that will see taxpayers part with 2.2 billion shillings for members of parliament to take home at the expiry of their term in January 15th next year. Among the 30 MPs who were in parliament that night and supported the amendment included Finance Minister Njeru Githae, his transport counterpart Amos Kimunya, Ekwe Ethuro, who was the temporary speaker, Chris Okemo and Farah Mahalim. Each of the 222 MPs is set to receive up to 10 million Kenya shillings send-off package as a result of the maneuver by the MPs as the clock ticks to the next general election. The Kainan amendment, referred to as severance allowance, will see MP's salary of 851,000 shillings multiplied by 5 as the years the MPs have served, then get 31% of the total amount. That brings to 15 million shillings before tax and 10 million after taxation.
We find it to be indecent, and it goes against all rules of good conduct. And we urge the president not to sign this bill into law.
Because they're stealing, they snuck it in the night very quickly, with hardly any quorum, without ventilating on the issue, And it was only for the media to play its watchdog role, which it's done a fantastic job, to expose this.
The Salaries and Remuneration Commission, through the chairperson Sarah Serem, is terming the proposed hefty exit package that MPs awarded themselves as illegal, unconstitutional and unwarranted. The commission say it will move to court to block the move.
Members of the public should come out very strongly and condemn this.
But now a section of MPs are distancing themselves from the move, saying they were not in Parliament when the legislation was passed.
I don't think the members of Parliament actually deserve a pay when going home.
Let them oppose it on the floor of Parliament, on the record, on the Hansard, and let them take steps towards the retraction of that bill, and let them not take that money.
The Commission for the Implementation of the Constitution has also declared the package unlawful. The Thursday night move is only awaiting presidential assent to be implemented. Aaron Ocheng, KTN Prime.
Well, off the back of that story, with the justified uproar regarding the extra 2 billion shillings that are being proposed, we now look at a few more details.
Yes, and Catherine Mwanza now joins us in studio to break down the numbers. What exactly will cabinet ministers, the Prime Minister, the Speaker of the National Assembly be taking home? Over to you, Catherine.
The 31% gratuity is calculated on taxable gross income specified in the National Assembly's Remuneration Act, and it would seem that not all members of Parliament shall take home the same amount of money come January 2013. Here's an estimate of the gratuity that will be granted to members of Parliament according to their status or rank if the gratuity is backdated to August 2010, according to the Hansard. Vice President and the Speaker of the National Assembly, who earn a taxable gross salary of 833,000 shillings a month, will take home 6.2 million shillings. The Deputy Speaker, who earns a taxable salary of 672,000 shillings a month, shall take home 4.9 million shillings. The country's ministers shall take home 3.7 million shillings each, while their assistants shall take home 3.2 million shillings each. Parliamentary Service Commissioner Abdi Kadir will take home 3.9 million shillings, and Parliamentary Chief Whips will take home 3.4 million shillings, while finally average members of Parliament will take home 3 million shillings. The President is exempt from the gratuity payment and will be given a separate severance package, but since the Prime Minister is a member of Parliament, he is perhaps the biggest beneficiary and could go home with a golden handshake of 8.9 million shillings. These golden gratuities shall be calculated alongside 3.7 million shillings members of Parliament awarded themselves in April this year as winding up allowance. This means that the Prime Minister would have earned an extra 12.6 million shillings between August 2010 and January 2013. The Speaker and the Vice President have earned 9.9 million shillings, while the Deputy Speaker has earned 8.6 million shillings, and ministers have earned an extra 7.4 million shillings in gratuity calculated between 2010 and 2013. The new amendment that was sneaked in by legislator Adam Kanan on Thursday last week also includes 31% gratuity for the Clerk of the National Assembly. Now, there has been an uproar among Kenyan citizens over this new severance package for the legislators, but ultimately the decision now lays with the President, who will either decide whether to reject the amendment of the National Assembly's Remuneration Act and spare the taxpayer this intended burden, or he could assent to it. Either way, all eyes are on him now. I'm Catherine Omwanda. I hand you back to Sophia and Michael.
Thank you, Catherine. The High Court has once again cleared the way for the procurement of the biometric voter registration kits after dismissing a court challenge by activist Okoiti Okia Omtata.
Now, this comes hours before Parliament finalizes debate on the election regulations tomorrow, an indication that the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, could meet its timelines for the March 4th general election, if nothing else gets on its way. KTN's Noah Otieno reports.
Once again, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has prevailed on its onward quest to conduct elections on the 4th of March 2013. The first attempt was on the 27th of July when civil society activist Okoiti Omtata tried to stop the tendering process for the biometric voter registration kits. Justice David Majanja declined Omtata's request then, before the Kenya government stepped in to procure the kits directly from the Canadian government. Omtata went back to court on the 24th of September, the same day the IEBC signed a contract with the company Safran Morpho for the supply of 15,000 BVR kits. He wanted the IEBC stopped from contracting this company. Once again, the court disappointed Omtata with a ruling by Justice Majanja 2 days later. But he wasn't done. He was back in court last week on the 3rd of October asking the court to suspend the BVR contract on account of allegations that the contracted company Safran Morpho had not passed the integrity test. Now, for the 3rd time in a row, Justice David Majanja has dismissed Omtata's suit, saying it would be improper to give orders interfering with the electoral process, which is underpinned by the Constitution itself. It is now looking like the IEBC may just have enough time to achieve its plans, as the chairman Isaac Hassan maintained on Sunday.
I have no doubt in my mind that IEBC as a family, as an institution, is prepared to conduct the elections come 4th of March.
The Justice Minister Eugene Wamalwa has also assured the nation about the security of the 2013 elections.
And we believe that you are prepared, and we believe that if all Kenyans of goodwill support you, you will be able to discharge that mandate.
It is just hours to the 3rd and final stage of the debate in Parliament on the election rules, which would give guidance to the general election.
We just need support from other institutions, political support from the government and from Parliament.
The latest events are happening as the former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan and former Tanzanian President Benjamin Mkapa arrive in Kenya for what is expected to be talks about Kenya's preparedness for the next general election. Now, KTN Prime.
Pastoralists in Turkana North are on high alert following the death of more than 700 head of cattle, reportedly from an outbreak of anthrax disease. Anthrax is a bacterial infection of animals, especially ruminants, which can affect human beings. The Ministry of Livestock has not yet made comment. KTN's Angel Katusia has the details.
Mid last month, 100 head of cattle died in several villages in Kibesh Division in North Turkana. This was the first bunch of animals to have succumbed to a suspected outbreak of the fatal anthrax disease in the region. Weeks later, residents claim their livestock that include cows, goat and sheep have been dying of the disease. Residents of North Turkana now say the disease has claimed more than 700 head of cattle in the past 3 weeks. The government has, however, remained mute on the suspected anthrax outbreak. Anthrax is a life-threatening infectious disease caused by bacteria that normally affects animals, especially goats, cows, sheep and horses. The disease often kills animals within 24 hours.
It is a very quick transition from normal to dead. Basically, you leave an animal that is looking normal to you, and in about 1 or 2 hours, the animal is dead.
Anthrax outbreak is often of serious concern, given that the risk of the disease passing on to humans is very high. If one comes into contact with an infected animal or even carcass, consumption of meat from an infected animal will also pass the bacteria to humans, and the most deadly is inhalation, where one can get infected by inhaling anthrax bacteria spores, which then cause deadly infection of the lymph glands.
The spread is as quick as the contact. So basically, any other time there is contact between infected and uninfected animals, that is already an avenue that is fast enough.
In 2006, 2 people died of an anthrax outbreak in Maragua and Samburu districts. Angel Katusia, KTN.
The commission investigating the tragic helicopter accident that killed Cabinet Minister George Saitoti, his deputy Oro Ojoda and 4 police officers today visited the scene of the crash. The Kalpanrawal-led team heard from witnesses who gave different testimonies on whether the plane was engulfed by fire before or after the crash. The team revealed contradicting reports on what might have happened minutes to the fatal crash, including whether or not smoke was emanating from the aircraft before or after it hit the ground. There was also contention on whether a briefcase reportedly full of money was found at the scene or not.
No. You know, I could not see until it went to the end. As I said, I saw up to the post, then immediately I heard a noise, a big noise, a bang. Then I saw the fire, just the fire.
Sitting in that closed door place, we couldn't visualize it, could we? So now we came here to see ourselves what actually they saw, according to their evidence. All right? Whether they're right or wrong, it is for us to know.
Well, as we go to a break now, a reminder of tonight's big question. Are politicians responsible for the re-emergence of pre-election terror gangs? Are politicians responsible for the emergence of terror gangs? Send your yes or no response with a brief comment to the number 8040. You can also, we'll sample some of your comments and definitely give you the poll result at the end of this live newscast.
Indeed we will. You are watching KTN Prime, and just ahead, Succession 2013, the Mudavadi factor.
African dishes in association with Golden Fry.
Fish fingers. Ingredients: half a kilogram fish fillet, 1 cup all-purpose flour, 2 eggs beaten, 3 cloves of garlic crushed, 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs, salt and pepper to taste, golden fry oil for frying. Directions: preheat the golden fry oil in a deep frying pan. Cut the fish into finger-shaped pieces. In a mixing bowl, combine the all-purpose flour with salt and pepper. In another mixing bowl, mix the beaten egg and crushed garlic. In a Ziploc bag, pour in the breadcrumbs. Dip the fish fingers in the flour mixture and coat evenly all round. Then into the beaten egg mixture, letting excess egg drip off. Finally, put the fish fingers into the breadcrumbs, lock the bag and shake to evenly coat the fish fingers. Fry the fish fingers in batches in the already hot oil for 2 to 3 minutes or until golden brown. Remove and drain on a paper towel. Serve with lemon halves and tartar sauce. Golden Fry. Fries more, lasts longer.
From the city to the highway, from the off-road to the open road.
The Nissan Hard Body Double Cab, also known as a Toti, is a one-ton pickup that has stood tall amongst its peers for sheer strength and outright durability. Their Toti can run for thousands of kilometers even on the toughest terrain with affordable maintenance bills. With its 2.5-liter common rail turbo engine, the Toti is African-built and tough vehicle.
Nani kama Nissan.
The 10th edition of the Standard Chartered Nairobi Marathon takes place on the 28th of October. Get yourself ready by engaging in daily exercises. The top reasons to exercise include: reduces medical and healthcare expenses, gives you more energy to meet the demands of daily life, increases your level of muscle endurance, helps you sleep easier and better. Prepare yourself to run for a reason.
Register now at all Standard Chartered Bank branches, Nakumatt supermarkets, and online on www.nairobimarathon.com. Registration closes on Sunday, 21st October 2012. Run for a reason.
Everybody loves bread, but only the very finest bread can love you back.
So soft to touch
and so tasty. In this 21st century, we are still losing lives through unhealthy alcoholic drinks. Children are left orphaned and families left broken. This shouldn't happen. A healthy drink means a healthy family and a healthy working nation. This message is brought to you by Vienna Ice Ready to Drink Vodka, mixed to precision. We care.
Plan your family's future with Jubilee. Your family and home. The finest education. In fact, ensure your whole life with Jubilee. The gift of life is yours with Jubilee. Jubilee Life Insurance. Live free.
Welcome back to KTN Prime.
Indeed, we're glad you're watching. In news from the counties, a man in Busia hacks a woman to death in mysterious circumstances, and in Nakuru, 4 people were killed in an accident involving 2 trucks. These and more in our News in Brief segment.
In Busia, a 25-year-old man was lynched by locals after he went berserk and hacked to death a 42-year-old widow and mother of 7 children on Sunday night. The man, who is claimed to have been having an affair with the woman, is said to have sneaked into the woman's house in Obatai village in Teso and hid under her bed before committing the act using an axe. Elsewhere, 3 people died on the spot and another died while undergoing treatment when 2 lorries, one ferrying maize to Nakuru and another heading to Kampala, collided and burst into flames along the Nakuru-Eldoret highway in Salga area. 3 other people were seriously injured and taken to Molo District Hospital. 3 of the dead were burnt beyond recognition. In Mombasa, a go-slow by ferry workers sent commuters into panic mode. The go-slow is the first ever by ferry workers who are demanding that the Kenya Ferry Services honor a pay increment agreement with the workers. Crowds of commuters waiting to cross the Likoni Channel led to a huge traffic snarl-up in the area. And 3 suspects alleged to have been involved in the theft of a school bus belonging to Karima Boys School in Odhaya were arraigned in court Monday morning to answer to charges of theft. The 3 who were arrested on the 6th of September over the allegations denied the charges and were released on a 200,000 shilling bond each and sureties of the same amount. The 3 were arrested in Kiambu after police launched a massive search for the bus that was stolen from the school compound. Police in Odhaya say there has been an increase in theft of school buses in the area. Police are yet to locate the stolen bus.
Deputy Prime Minister Musalia Mudavadi's presidential quest seems to be at a crossroads. While polls indicate that the DPM can beat his boss, Prime Minister Raila Odinga, in a runoff, Mudavadi is ranked 3rd popular presidential candidate at a meager 7%. The DPM has embarked on a mission to increase the base of his support, but his strategy appears to be working against him as the G7 alliance crafts a succession plan without Mudavadi in the equation. Samugina highlights Mudavadi's options.
The numbers released in the latest opinion polls have jolted leading presidential aspirants into action. The polls rated the two deputy premiers Uhuru Kenyatta and Musalia Mudavadi as favorites against Prime Minister Raila Odinga in a runoff. Uhuru presents a real threat to Raila in a runoff, while the Sabati MP poses a slim challenge, beating the PM with a margin of only 4% at 48% against 44% to the PM. In the primaries, Raila leads the pack with Mudavadi falling a distant third with a meager 7%. Maybe in a move to fortify his challenge, Mudavadi has reignited debate on referral of the ICC cases against the four accused. A strategy viewed by political commentators as apologist to Deputy Prime Minister Uhuru Kenyatta and Eldoret North MP William Ruto ranks.
It is his strategy that he can show the people of Central Kenya that he's sympathizing with their son. He can show the Kalenjin that he is sympathizing with their son.
Musalia Mudavadi has, I think, crafted a good strategy to seize the moment, which is pegged on the what if Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto are not in the equation.
But Mudavadi's statement appears to have arced further the Uhuru-Ruto axis, especially after Mudavadi was the key critic of Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka's shuttle diplomacy to save the duo, among others, from the yoke of ICC.
Hizi safari nyingi sijui kama zitakuwa na matokeo ambayo wanatarajia.
People will look at him as shedding crocodile tears simply because he needs that vote.
Political pundits, however, say Mudavadi is slowly adopting the opportunist tag from Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka. That while appearing to appease Uhuru and Ruto supporters, he wants to capitalize on their fate if the duo are eliminated from the equation by the courts.
The Musalia Mudavadi's candidature is pegged on what if. So unless we seriously look at the what if around the Musalia Mudavadi, it's his candidature may eventually lead to what you call a false start.
The voters are very, very alert. They'll remember that Musalia Mudavadi, when he was in ODM, did condemn Kalonzo Musyoka when he was engaging in the shuttle diplomacy.
Mudavadi faces more odds than evens to be backed as the G7 alliance compromise candidate. Allies in the G7 consider the Sabati MP weak in his own lawyer backyard, hence lacking the bargaining chip. The Kibaki factor in his presidential push has sparked considerable revolt against him in central Kenya.
Also prepare very carefully as we move ahead.
Kibaki is viewed as betraying Uhuru, who shelved his 2007 presidential bid to support the president's re-election.
Insofar as votes are concerned, what was Kibaki's votes in 2007 have already been taken by Uhuru Kenyatta, and whether President Kibaki was to come out and say these votes should go to Musalia Mudavadi, he'll be told, well, time is up, Mr. President. We are looking into the future, and the future is Uhuru Kenyatta.
But Mudavadi's demeanor of a gentleman appears to be his main entry point and appeal.
And the characteristic style of Musalia Mudavadi, like the one of Mwai Kibaki, is something that may be endearing to Kenyans, that perhaps they might hope to say that perhaps maybe this is the change that we need in terms of this transitional period from the old order into the new order.
The political realignments after the opinion polls have given the DPM a wide berth. The G7 alliance are once again regrouping. The recent talks designated Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka as a compromise candidate in case Uhuru and Ruto are locked out.
If you're talking of the game of football that Musalia Mudavadi talks about, of the game ending in 90 minutes, then the game that will have ended in 90 minutes will be between Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta. And it is those two that will go for the extra time, and which is the runoff.
If at all they are not on the ballot paper, then Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, especially Uhuru Kenyatta, will play a pivotal role in terms of determining who becomes Kenya's fourth president.
But uncertainty in the G7 reigns over who will be its flag bearer. Analysts say key leaders in the amalgamation have big egos that will not allow them to play second fiddle to anyone.
How does Kalonzo Musyoka go back and tell people that I am the vice president, but all in all, for the sake of unity of the G7, I have decided that I'm supporting Uhuru Kenyatta? So those are some of the most difficult questions that the leaders in the G7 alliance will really have to battle it.
The ambitions of certain presidential candidates is so strong that they have to see themselves on the ballot paper.
This, coupled with Uhuru Kenyatta's The National Alliance performance in the recent by-elections, securing 2 seats out of 3, has buoyed the party, raising its profile to that of the giant ODM.
TNA has smelt blood and it's going for it. It's not going to surrender for anybody.
Uhuru is consolidating his party, instigating raids in other political parties, leaving a small window for an alliance. The DPM is on the offensive to strengthen his vessel to garner majority seats in parliament, and as such, wants allied parties dissolve into TNA.
I can see you are reading Kajiado County. Lakini muje pole pole. Najua sasa mmepeana bendera, mnataka mimi nikuje na mimi sikuji.
Tunawaomba wenzetu mkubali pamoja tuingie, sisi ambao tunafikiri pamoja, ambao tuko na mwelekeo ambao unafanana, sisi zote tuingie ndani ya chama moja na tusimame pamoja.
The mathematics of the polls rating the 2 deputy premiers Musalia Mudavadi and Uhuru Kenyatta as favorites against Prime Minister Raila Odinga in a runoff may be out there. But the parable of the 2-horse race appears to be shaping up, with the Sabati MP bundled in what the PM will describe as donkeys. Whether the donkey will outpace the horses, the moment of truth may be well beyond the March 4th, 2013 elections. Samogina, KTN, for Spotlights 2013.
Time for another break, but when we return, we're back with KTN Business Today, which Sophia Wanano will be telling us about technology increasing revenues at the ASK International Trade Fair.
She's got a cold again. Well, I'm sure you're taking proper care of your hygiene. Yes, I use antiseptic liquid in my bath water. But germs are also getting smarter, and your protection is still the same. So what's better? Advanced Lifebuoy. While bathing, it gives better germ protection than antiseptic liquid. 10 infection-causing germs, 1 advanced protection. Lifebuoy.
Timiza na M-Pesa. Win a Mercedes E200. To enter, simply use Nunua na M-Pesa, pay bill, or even do your banking through M-Pesa. There will also be 20 daily cash winners of 25,000 shillings and 25 winners weekly of up to 5,000 shillings.
Relax, uko na M-Pesa.
KTN Business Today, brought to you by Britam. We are with you every step of the way.
Welcome to KTN Business Today. The Nairobi Securities Exchange 20-share index could hit the coveted 4,000-point mark by the end of the month, signaling a rise in stock prices and better returns for investors. The NSE 20-share index opened the week at 3,975.79 points, with research analysts confident the performance witnessed last week could climb. Here is more.
The NSE 20-share index, which tracks top 20 performing stocks, closed at 3,975.79 points on Friday, edging closer to the 4,000-point level last seen in June last year. Although the index dipped slightly on Monday straight to 3,971.68 points, analysts point out the drop in inflation and interest rates as a factor making equities more attractive to investors. Having opened the year at 3,287 points, the NSE performance has been on a bullish run, with major blue-chip companies receiving interest from foreign investors. Foreign investors currently account for half of the participation on the bourse and have raised their total holding of shares on the bourse to 31%, up from 22%. In the first 9 months of 2012, total investor wealth has risen by 289.85 billion shillings to close at 1.158 trillion shillings on Friday last week. Earlier last week, there was a glitch that indicated the NSE 20-share index had hit the 4,000 mark, but this has since been corrected, with analysts now setting their eyes at the end of the month as the likely date when the market will hit the coveted 4,000-point mark. The market has maintained resilience to weather jitters of next year's general election, a phenomenon common to the run-up of any general election in Kenya. Analysts, however, warn that cases of violence could dampen investor appetite. Michael Karanja, KTN Business Today.
The government is engaging the World Bank for an estimated $40 million funding that will be directed at revamping key sectors like infrastructure, health, education and manufacturing through private-public partnerships. This is according to the Director of the Private-Public Partnerships in the Ministry of Finance, Stanley Kamau.
Due to the observed inadequacies of government in funding and management of community projects, the bias of late has been for the adoption of public-private partnership structures in the financing, implementation and maintenance of major projects, with the government increasingly favoring PPPs. The question of whether such partnership can meet the needs of cities and towns has assumed growing importance.
Currently, it's estimated we need about, we have a funding of about $40 billion. That's quite a lot of money. But the government, that the private sector can get involved in delivering some of the public services that have traditionally been a government responsibility.
So public-private partnerships are a relatively new way to deliver public services in a way that we think is more cost-effective for the citizens that pay for it, whether they're users or taxpayers.
While private capital has turned around the performance in sectors such as energy, its potential is yet to be scratched in the social sector, where education and health need urgent expansion and the upgrade. In urban areas, housing, water, sewerage and waste management are crying out for new investment. Despite the opportunities, the private sector has been hesitant to commit resources without the certainty that the investment will be secure from political interference.
Sometimes we have projects seated in government for many years because the responsibilities of who is doing them and what their role is not very clear. So this is a mechanism we have created very clear, and we think is going to help for private sector to be able to know who is dealing with what.
Speaking at the Strathmore Business School, Kamau further noted that the private sector need to open up to a new engagement that will foster its role in urban governance. Philip Keitan for KTN Business Today.
The just concluded Nairobi International Trade Fair expects revenue collected this year to climb 60% following the adoption of electronic ticketing system. The technology tested in Kisumu, Nyeri and Mombasa agricultural shows had helped cut losses through ticketing fraud. Previously, fraudsters had printed the ASK tickets within hours of sale of the fast tickets, with reports indicating that fake tickets sold more than genuine tickets, leading to heavy losses in entry fees and car park revenue. For the first time this year, showgoers bought tickets online via mobile money transfer services. Last year, over 400,000 people attended the show, with gate collections recorded in the region of 100 million Kenya shillings. The ever-rising housing deficit in the country has offered promising returns to the country's real estate market, with a ballooning number of ambitious real estate development projects in the offing. The projects are targeted at high-end market due to its money-back guarantee nature at the expense of the middle and low-end market, whose access to mortgages remain limited. Philip Ketani reports.
Vision 2030 is a government economic blueprint for attaining a middle-income status by 2030 and is designed to permit rapid growth while ensuring civic amenities and infrastructure grows with the needs of the population. It is in this light that the government has encouraged investment in mega projects at the expense of cheap real estate development aimed at the low market, where demand for housing currently stands at the region of 400,000 units annually and counting. Some notable mega construction projects in property development include the 800 million shilling Konza ICT Park, Tatu City, Mega Real Estate Development, and now the 3.5 billion shillings Lemak development that are all aimed at the top of the market property owners, a move seen by many as the country losing its focus on its priorities of housing its poor. The new entrant Lemak will be a 22-floor skyscraper with the first 6 floors dedicated to commercial space, with the next 12 spaces dedicated to 1 and 2 bedroom apartments, expected to go for between 12 and 14 million shillings, while the 21st and 22nd floors taken by a 5-star restaurant. Philip Kaitan for KTN Business Today.
And finally, let's have a look at the Forex market report.
KTN Business Today was brought to you by Britam. We are with you every step of the way.
I pay for power when I need power.
What will you do now, Vicky? Rekha is going to kill you. The outing has ruined the whole drama that was going on between Abhay and Lisa. I'll have to start everything from scratch now, again.
I have no more faith in anything you say. But still, if you wish it, I'll give you one more chance. Whatever you want to do will have to be tonight, Vikrant.
Now that's my power. Power the way I want it.
Welcome to KTN Sports Today. I am Nicholas Mudimba. We'll kick off with some local news as national soccer team Harambee Stars reported to come today for early preparations for the upcoming friendly match against South Africa. Dennis Olich is among those who reported to come today under the new coach Henry Michel. Players who also joined the camp today are local-based players. Others, including Celtic's Victor Wanyama Mugubi, are expected in the camp. Players who are called up for the friendly include Dennis Olich, goalkeeper Aaron Lorigi, Victor Mugubi, Patrick Osiako, Patrick Oboya, Christian Boabi, Ayub Tibe, Jerry Santos and Bram Mandela. The friendly match against Bafana Bafana will be played next week. Moving on, it will be another interesting weekend as rivals Gor Mahia take on FC Leopards in the FKF Cup semi-final, while Tusker will try to stop Sofapaka in the other semi-final. According to Gor Mahia assistant coach Bobo Gola, they will take that match as any other match to ease pressure, as focus is still on the big thing, the league title. It will be another action-packed soccer weekend as Gor Mahia tries to shrug off the sluggish display on Sunday to take on rivals FC Leopards in the FKF Cup semi-final. Gor Mahia, who will be looking to defend the title, have turned a new leaf since Zdravko Logarusic took over. Gor Mahia played an attacking football on Sunday against a stubborn Muhoroni youth side who were out to spoil their party. Kogalo advanced with a 4-2 post-match penalties win. The two big boys in the Kenya football have made twice in the league It will be the third time they are meeting this season after FC Leopards snapped the top 8 semi-finals at the Moi Sports Center, Kasarani.
Ahead is another titanic clash. I would say that we are just going to approach it just like any